Could there be a time in the past where there was absolutely nothing?
In theory, sure.
If that is the case, how does something come out of nothing?
You should ask the physicists.
The physicists say the same thing. Nothingness cannot make anything. Take that risk.
I'm not sure there is a thereafter. That's a risk in itself already.
Okay.
So
you're saying... Okay.
By then, if I die and there is a thereafter, I've already lost probably anyway, so then the purpose is secondary to that.
Yeah, but you're still thinking that there's a possible loss, and you're willing to take that risk.
I don't know if it's a possible loss.
So you're certain there's no loss?
No, because I think, in a sense, if there isn't anything and I'm dead, there's nothing to gain.
Are you certain there is nothing?
Nothing is certain in life.
So you're not certain that you could be in loss? So it's possible that you might be in loss?
Sure, yeah.
Right, and you're willing to take that risk?
Passively, sure, yeah.
So why don't you do that in your everyday life here? In your exams, in your job interviews and so on? Why don't you do that? Why do you act differently, inconsistently?
Because I choose
take
to.
risks in everything.
Yeah, there's a risk in anything.
But you're not taking that risk. Have you been to a job interview where you know nothing about this job?
Maybe I've taken a risk.
Maybe there is a difference between having risk and you dealing with the risk. I mean, you respond to the risk. Do you remain calm when there is a risk, or you take some step to properly respond to the risk?
No, but I think there's the risk. I've gone to a job interview unprepared because I'm like, I don't know if this job is for me.
Yeah, so there is a preparation. I mean, it's not like that you say that there is a risk of failing in the interview, but you do not read or take preparation. So there is a response.
Why do you take that preparation? Why do you make that preparation?
For the job interview? I suppose because I want to get the job.
Yeah,
so I
you try to minimize the risk. That's a
normal,
natural
response. It is known that you can get the job. It's not known that you can get like a second life. So there's a very big difference between a job interview and dying, I think.
The hereafter and the loss in the hereafter is actually a bigger loss. It's a bigger risk, bigger loss.
We don't know, right?
If I were to believe that that's what happens.
Yeah,
he knows
but
there is a job, but he doesn't know there is a life after. So
even if you do not believe, even if you do not believe in whatever is coming after your death, you have certain possibilities that this can be a viable possibility that we land up in a bad
everything
situation.
is possible.
Should I start fake believing in the this is Pascal's wager that you're doing?
You need not to believe what is certain, but yet if you consider the possibility that there is a possibility.
What you're doing this is Pascal's wager. I should believe purely because the downside of not believing is not working.
No, like in interview, you do not know, you are not certain that you will fail.
But I'm certain that someone will get the job.
We're talking about you. You and your fate.
I prepared knowing that if there's 10 people interviewing or 100, one of us will get it.
You.
But you don't know that maybe no one is selected. Yeah.
Does it happen?
I suppose so, yeah.
No, it does happen.
Yeah, that's fine. But
We had recently eye contact in some interviews, and we didn't select any of those people from the interview.
I don't know.
So before happening, you are not certain, but yet you take the preparation to minimize the risk. So that's natural response to any human being.
Yeah, but
If someone says that okay, there is a risk, but I will not take any.
Okay, let's get one step backward then. Do you believe you exist?
it's already a question. We could be in a simulation.
What is your personal take on
I
that?
think I exist. I haven't thought deeply about it. I wake up every day, so I guess I exist. Sure, yeah.
So you're not. So
There's a degree of existing happening.
do you not find that interesting? Because going after money, woman, job, all this drugs and rock and roll, you do that every day. But you don't do that every day thinking about the existence and reality. Who you are, where do you come from, what's going to happen to you. You see, it's not every day that you think about the real big questions. So what I'm saying is, your friends are asking, invite your friends back and say, look, this is something that every one of us individually, by our own self, have to get the answers.
Sure, yeah.
Which needs to be convincing to our own self. Not convincing to him.
I have to get the answer for me.
Sure.
Not for anyone else.
Exactly.
As long as my answer is satisfactory to myself.
Exactly. So now, let's make things very simple. As we exist and we understand that you're not a hyper skeptical in which you don't believe that you don't exist. You have some degrees of understanding that there is existence. You exist and I exist. If such an existence exists, right, could there be a time in the past, doesn't matter how remote it is, how far it is, where there was absolutely nothing?
In theory, sure.
If that is the case, how does something come out of nothing?
You should ask the physicists.
The physicists say the same thing. Nothingness cannot make anything. Something cannot come.
Maybe the universe is eternal.
So it's not that.
So there was never a start.
That's fine. So the idea or the concept that there was some nothingness at one point and then the universe came, it's not logical or reasonable. So there has to be something always in existence. And you postulated that the universe has always been there. So it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's take that model. The universe is always existing. Has the universe undergone transformation, changes?
I guess so, yeah.
Exactly, it has been. The universe is expanding. For any transformation to happen, what do we need? Can this tripod?
Yes, it can.
Can this tripod make your jacket, which says "work in progress"?
Yes, statistically there is a.
How?
That's quantum physics. Anything can happen at any
Quantum physicist, you may be a mathematician. Now tell me, how do you explain by statistical probabilities and alluding to quantum physics that a material object with no consciousness, no will or volition or ability, can make a jacket as it is like that with the English words written "work in progress"? I'd like to hear some good explanations which are coherent and meaningful.
I don't think I owe you any coherent and meaningful
I'm
explanations.
expecting, no, I'm not demanding.
Well, it sounded like you were demanding.
No, I'm not.
But I'm not a quantum physicist. But I think by chance, if you have an infinite number of opportunities in one of them, that will happen.
So you believe in the probability statistic where given enough time,
For
everything
that,
is happening,
For
possible.
that initially you need the options to be existing. Like if you toss a coin, the possibilities are already ingrained in the design of the coin. You know, the head or tail. Yeah. So likewise, you have to have initial design of the possibilities. Otherwise,
No,
you
because
can.
I don't need to be able to calculate possibilities for anything to happen.
But you need in the setup the possibilities. Like you cannot get.
But if the possibilities are infinite, I don't have to specify any specific.
No, you need certain level of specification. Otherwise,
No, because if I say the options are infinite, then I don't need to specify specific one. But gentlemen,
if
we are going on our way.
Yes.
I'm showing my friends around town. I would like to thank you.
Okay.
You haven't read the Quran, have you? None of you.
I've read part of the Quran.
Why don't you open up the Quran and read and ask questions about it? Because this Quran asks you to think about the existential questions that we are just about to discuss.
By the way, if you take the infinite possibility are there, I mean, you should have some certain consistent explanation for that. Why that infinite possibilities exist? Yeah. Yeah.
Even the precondition needs
We will
rules.
have to go.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
Just to explain then what we're talking about in terms of infinite possibilities. If there were no initial set rules or conditions, can anything happen in any way, any meaningful way?
So the problem is that you need to have in the setup of infinite possibilities, there could be many types of infinities. So you have to have specific types of infinities at the first place. Second one, even if there are infinite number of possibilities, then to have a unfolding of a certain ways of events from this possibility, set of possibilities, you have to have a rule for that. Otherwise, you usually say that sometimes a potato can become human and human can become a potato. It will be random everywhere. I mean, you cannot have a certain certainty in anything. I mean, you cannot do anything in real life. So that's absurd, or that's inconsistent to whatever we see in the real world. So that's why this invoking of infinite possibility no longer, does not help anyway in this scenario. It is just trying to, wash out the rational conclusion. That's all.
Okay. Let's hope our audience, those who are listening, our viewers, reflect on this because there seems to be some kind of justification people try to make not to really believe in the existence of a creator, not to be involved in practicing a certain way of life as determined by the creator, to expect a life hereafter. So these are justifications, and it looks like all of these justifications, one by one, they are not coherent, and they are not something that one can justify and keep on holding this belief. So let us keep reflecting on these things, and hopefully, inshallah, God willing, people will, using their critical thinking, come to the realization that there indeed is a creator who is the originator, the source of all things, originated us for a noble purpose in which we will worship God alone without ascribing any partners, without any associates, and if we do so, then God has promised us hereafter there's eternal pleasure, paradise under which rivers flow, where there is no suffering, no pain, but bliss, tranquility and contentment and happiness. But if you don't do that, if you don't believe and adhere to the belief in oneness of God and accepting his existence, and you believe in God having a daughter, for example, or a wife, or a son, or many gods, or no gods, then your fate is determined, because God has already prescribed that he will not forgive the association with him in his divine reality, and hellfire will be their only destination. Let us hope that we, all of us, are removed and safe from this hellfire. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.